Most people don't struggle with speaking. They struggle with being taken seriously. They talk, but their words don't land. Their voice gets lost, their point gets ignored, and deep inside, they feel that quiet frustration. Why don't people listen to me? If you've ever felt that, you're not alone. And that's exactly why this video matters. Speaking like a leader isn't about trying to sound powerful. It's about understanding how people think, how they react, and what makes them pay attention. Human psychology plays a huge role here. People respond to confidence they can feel, not confidence someone tries to fake. They trust a voice that sounds steady, not loud. They follow someone who talks with purpose, not someone who fills space with words. So, ask yourself something real for a moment. How different would your life be if your voice held more weight in conversations, at work, at home, and in moments where it actually matters? This video will show you how to speak in a way that gets people to listen, without forcing anything. If you want your words to have more impact in your daily life, stay here, because this is where that change begins. Chapter 1. Speak with self-belief that quietly raises your authority. Speaking with self-belief is one of the most important skills anyone can develop if they want to lead effectively. Every great leader you've ever admired had one thing in common. They didn't just talk. They spoke with confidence that came from knowing who they were and what they stood for. And that confidence wasn't loud. It wasn't aggressive. It was quiet, steady, and it naturally drew people to listen and follow. People don't follow people who doubt themselves. They follow people who stand firm in their own understanding and who trust themselves enough to guide others. This is where self-belief becomes your greatest asset in speaking like a leader. Self-belief isn't something you're born with. It's something you develop every single day through small, consistent actions. It's built on knowing your strengths, accepting your weaknesses, and being committed to growing every day. When you speak with self-belief, every word you say carries weight. Every idea you share is grounded in conviction. You don't have to yell, argue, or force attention. Self-belief gives your words a natural authority that makes people stop and listen. They sense the certainty in your voice because it's reflected in your posture, your tone, your eye contact, and even in the way you pause before you speak. The first step in developing this kind of self-belief is to understand your values. Know what matters to you. When you understand your principles and the things you care about deeply, your words come from a place of authenticity. Authenticity cannot be faked. People are experts at sensing when someone is pretending or trying to act like someone they are not. Your authority grows when people feel your sincerity. They feel your confidence because it comes from an internal foundation, not from trying to impress others. Take time to reflect on your beliefs, your mission, and the purpose behind your words. Every time you speak, let your words align with these principles. That alignment gives you a quiet but powerful authority that draws people in naturally. Next, understand the power of preparation. Confidence grows in direct proportion to how well you know your material, your message, and your audience. Leaders never walk into conversations, meetings, or presentations unprepared. Preparation is not just about memorizing facts, it's about understanding the problem, anticipating the questions, and knowing how your message will serve others. When you are prepared, hesitation disappears. Uncertainty disappears. Your voice carries authority because your mind is clear and focused. People notice this. They notice when someone speaks with clarity and purpose. And they respond positively because they can trust that person knows what they're talking about. Speaking with self-belief also requires control over your inner dialogue. Most people fail to speak confidently, not because they lack knowledge or ability, but because they doubt themselves internally. That little voice in your head can undermine everything if you let it. It's not the words you speak out loud that create authority. It's the words you believe in your heart and mind. If you tell yourself you can do it, your words carry strength. If you doubt yourself, even the most powerful words will sound weak. Train your mind daily to replace self-doubt with self-trust. Remind yourself of your past successes, your knowledge, and your capacity to learn. Every small victory reinforces your self-belief and gives you the courage to speak boldly. Your posture and body language are critical when speaking with self-belief. The human brain and the brains of those around you read non-verbal cues even before words are processed. Stand tall, keep your shoulders back, and make your presence felt. A leader's authority is not only in the words spoken, but in the way they carry themselves. Speak slowly and deliberately. Allow pauses where needed. The spaces between your words give your audience time to absorb your message and recognize your confidence. Avoid fidgeting, shifting weight unnecessarily, or speaking too quickly. Every aspect of your physical presence reinforces the belief you carry inside. People respond to it subconsciously and automatically. Another important principle is learning to own your voice. Most people speak tentatively because they are worried about being judged or making mistakes. Leaders speak with ownership. They do not apologize for their opinions unnecessarily or hedge their statements constantly. Ownership comes from understanding that your voice matters and that your perspective has value. Even if your ideas are challenged, you present them calmly, respectfully, and confidently. Owning your voice doesn't mean being aggressive or dismissive. It means standing firm, expressing your thoughts clearly, and accepting responsibility for your words. This ownership is one of the most powerful ways to quietly raise your authority. Self-belief in speaking also grows through consistency. You cannot develop lasting confidence by speaking powerfully once in a while. It must become a habit. Speak with intention in every conversation, every meeting, every email, every small interaction. Practice does not make perfect. Practice makes consistent. The more consistently you show confidence and clarity in your communication, the more your authority grows. People begin to expect it from you. They trust it. They listen instinctively, and over time this habitual confidence becomes natural, effortless, and deeply ingrained. Listening is a hidden yet vital part of speaking with self-belief. True leaders do not only talk, they listen. They listen because they care, because they want to understand, and because they know that authority is strengthened when others feel heard. When you speak after genuinely listening, your words carry more impact. People feel your attention, your empathy, and your understanding. Self-belief is not about dominating a conversation. It's about being grounded enough to hold your space and still honor others' voices. Speaking with this balance of confidence and attentiveness quietly commands respect and builds real influence. Self-belief also requires embracing vulnerability. Many people think being a leader means never showing doubt or uncertainty. That's false. The strongest leaders speak with authority precisely because they acknowledge what they do not know while confidently presenting what they do. Admitting limits does not weaken your words. It humanizes you. It creates trust. When people see that you are grounded, self-aware, and honest, they feel safe following you. Speaking with self-belief is not arrogance. It is a calm recognition of your strength and an honest acknowledgement of your growth areas. That balance makes your presence magnetic. To strengthen self-belief further, track your progress and celebrate your small wins. Every time you speak confidently, every time you share your ideas clearly, every time you listen fully, acknowledge your effort. Reinforce it mentally. Self-belief grows when you see proof of your capability. Keep a record if needed. Review it regularly. These reminders fuel your confidence, motivate you to speak with even more clarity, and remind you that authority is earned through consistent practice and self-trust, not through shortcuts or forced bravado. It is equally important to surround yourself with supportive people. Authority is not built in isolation. Seek out mentors, colleagues, or friends who encourage your growth, provide constructive feedback, and reinforce your confidence. Avoid environments where self-doubt is normalized or where negativity overshadows learning. Being around people who value your voice and perspective strengthens your self-belief and reinforces the way you communicate. This supportive environment becomes a catalyst that amplifies your authority when you speak. Finally, remember that self-belief is a lifelong journey. Every day is an opportunity to strengthen. Every conversation, meeting, or speech is a chance to refine your voice, clarify your message, and stand firm in your values. There will be days when self-doubt creeps in, when nerves rise, or when mistakes happen. That is normal. Real authority is not about being perfect. It is about continuing to show up, speak honestly, and trust yourself even when it is hard. The quiet confidence that grows from this practice is unmistakable. People feel it, they trust it, and they naturally gravitate toward it. Speaking with self-belief that quietly raises your authority is not about speaking louder than everyone else. It is not about impressing people or seeking approval. It is about grounding yourself in your values, preparing thoroughly, controlling your inner dialogue, owning your voice, maintaining presence, listening deeply, showing vulnerability, celebrating progress, surrounding yourself with support, and practicing consistently. Each of these steps reinforces the next. They work together to create a leader whose words are powerful, because they are anchored in authenticity. When you start speaking with this kind of self-belief, you will notice a difference immediately. People will pay attention. They will respect your opinions. They will trust your guidance. And most importantly, you will feel a new kind of confidence that is not dependent on anyone else's approval. It will be steady, reliable, and deeply empowering. This quiet authority becomes part of your identity. Every conversation becomes a chance to reinforce it. Every interaction becomes a platform for influence. And over time, speaking with self-belief becomes effortless. It becomes who you are, not just what you do. Self-belief is not a destination. It is a practice. The more you engage in it intentionally, the stronger it grows. Every step you take to speak clearly, confidently, and authentically adds to your authority. Every word spoken from conviction resonates with others and inspires action. Leadership is not about controlling others. It is about controlling yourself, trusting your own voice, and using it to guide, motivate, and elevate those around you. Speak with self-belief, and authority will follow quietly, naturally, and powerfully. When you fully embrace this principle, speaking like a leader will no longer feel like a skill you have to perform. It will become a reflection of who you are. You will communicate with purpose, clarity, and influence. You will be trusted. You will be respected. You will quietly, consistently, and undeniably raise your authority simply by believing in yourself and sharing your truth with the people who need to hear it. Authority that comes from self-belief is unshakable because it is built from within. It does not require external validation. It does not fade when challenges arise. It grows every time you speak authentically, every time you listen attentively, and every time you trust yourself enough to act. Speaking with self-belief is the foundation of leadership. It transforms ordinary communication into influence, ordinary presence into inspiration, and ordinary moments into opportunities to lead. This is where real change begins. When you speak with self-belief, you do not just communicate, you inspire, you motivate, and you elevate others without needing to demand attention.
Your authority is quiet, powerful, and permanent. Every person you meet, every conversation you have, becomes a chance to strengthen this belief and demonstrate your leadership. Speak from this place of conviction, and your words will carry weight. They will leave an impression. They will make a difference. They will make a difference. That is the true power of speaking with self-belief.
Chapter 2. Build trust by talking in a calm, steady tone. Trust is the foundation of every meaningful relationship. Whether it is in business, in leadership, or in daily life, people follow those they trust. And trust is not built by loud voices or flashy gestures. It is built quietly, consistently, and intentionally. One of the most powerful ways to build trust is through the way you speak. Specifically, speaking in a calm, steady tone can transform the way others perceive you, the way they respond to you, and the influence you naturally command. Calmness in your voice signals to others that you are grounded, capable, and in control of yourself, even in challenging moments. This is the subtle force that makes people feel safe around you. When you speak calmly, your voice becomes a tool for connection. People are naturally drawn to steady energy because it creates a sense of stability. Human brains are wired to pick up on emotional cues, and a voice that is steady and controlled tells the listener that the person speaking is thoughtful, reliable, and trustworthy. There is no panic in a calm voice. There is no insecurity or desperation. It simply communicates confidence and control. Over time, people begin to expect this consistency. They start to rely on it, and this is how trust begins to build. The first step in speaking with a calm, steady tone is awareness. Most people do not even realize how their emotions affect the way they speak. Stress, excitement, frustration, or anger can make your voice rise, shake, or sound rushed. Awareness means noticing these changes before they control your communication. It requires paying attention to your own breathing, your posture, and the way you articulate words. When you speak under awareness, you can consciously adjust your tone to remain steady. You can control the pace, the volume, and the clarity of your voice. This conscious control is the first mark of a leader who others instinctively trust. Breathing is at the core of maintaining calmness in your voice. Deep, steady breathing regulates not only your tone but also your mental state. When you feel tension creeping in, a simple pause to inhale fully and exhale slowly can calm your nervous system instantly. This is not a trick, it is a physiological truth. Your voice follows your body. If your body is tense, your words will reflect tension. If your body is relaxed, your words will reflect calm authority. Learning to control your breathing is therefore not optional. It is essential for anyone serious about building trust in their communication. Equally important is pacing. People often rush their words when they are nervous, excited, or trying to impress. Fast speech creates a sense of urgency that can trigger anxiety in the listener. It makes you seem uncertain or scattered. Speaking too slowly, however, can make you sound hesitant or disengaged. The goal is deliberate pacing, finding a rhythm that allows your words to be absorbed comfortably. Each word should land with clarity. Each sentence should give the listener space to process the meaning. When you master pacing, your voice becomes not only calm but persuasive, compelling, and trustworthy. Consistency in tone is another critical element. Fluctuating between high-pitched urgency and low whispers can confuse listeners and undermine trust. When people hear a steady tone, they unconsciously feel stability. This stability translates into confidence in your ideas, your decisions, and your character. Consistency does not mean monotone or robotic speech. It means maintaining emotional balance and ensuring that your voice accurately reflects your intentions. People will sense the genuineness behind your calmness and will respond with loyalty and respect. Listening is part of speaking with a calm tone. You cannot speak steadily if you are not truly present in the conversation. When you listen attentively, your responses naturally come from thoughtfulness rather than reaction. This thoughtfulness manifests in a measured, calm delivery. People notice this. They feel valued because they are being heard. Trust grows when words are preceded by understanding. The combination of deep listening and a calm, steady voice communicates respect, integrity, and reliability without needing to be forceful or dramatic. Silence is a tool many people overlook. Pauses give weight to your words and demonstrate confidence. When you stop speaking for a moment, people realize that your message is intentional and considered. Silence is not awkward. It is powerful. It shows that you are in control of yourself and of the conversation. A calm, steady voice, paired with strategic pauses, creates a rhythm that communicates authority and earns trust. People feel that you are deliberate in what you say and careful about the impact of your words. This carefulness signals responsibility and reliability. Emotion management is another cornerstone of trust building through speech. Every leader faces pressure, criticism, and unexpected challenges. How you respond vocally during these moments determines how others perceive you. Speaking in a calm tone under stress demonstrates emotional intelligence. It shows that you can handle difficulty without panic. People do not follow those who are easily shaken. They gravitate toward those who maintain composure, think clearly, and express themselves steadily. Your calm voice becomes a symbol of stability in a world that often feels chaotic. Preparation also enhances the ability to speak in a calm, steady tone. The more familiar you are with your subject, the less likely your voice will waver under pressure. Confidence grows from competence. When you know your facts, your intentions, and your desired outcome, your voice naturally projects calm authority. People sense this preparation. They sense that you are grounded in knowledge and clarity rather than guessing or improvising recklessly. The listener feels your steadiness because you are steady within yourself. Body language works hand in hand with tone. A calm voice can lose its effect if paired with fidgeting, erratic gestures, or nervous habits. Standing or sitting upright, keeping your movements deliberate, and making eye contact all reinforce the message of calm authority. People notice these subtle cues and internalize them as evidence that you are trustworthy. When your tone, words, and body align, your message becomes compelling and unshakable. Trust grows without a single word of force. The power of words also plays a critical role. Certain words can excite or trigger fear in listeners, while others convey reassurance and reliability. Choosing words that are clear, direct, and emotionally balanced enhances the effect of your calm tone. Avoid overly aggressive language or exaggerated claims. Speak truthfully and with confidence in your phrasing. When words and tone align, people instinctively know that you are reliable. This alignment creates credibility that cannot be fabricated and that naturally draws respect. Developing a calm, steady tone takes consistent practice. Record yourself, listen to conversations, or seek feedback from trusted peers. Notice where your voice rises or falters, and make adjustments intentionally. Every time you speak with deliberate calmness, your trustworthiness grows. Each conversation becomes a small opportunity to reinforce credibility. Over time, this practice transforms your communication style. People begin to anticipate your presence, your steadiness, and your reliability. You become someone whose words carry natural authority without demanding attention. Emotional resonance is another subtle but powerful aspect of calm speech. Speaking calmly does not mean you remove all emotion from your words. Instead, it means conveying emotion in a controlled, measured way. Compassion, empathy, and confidence can all be expressed through tone without overwhelming the listener. A calm, steady tone gives the emotional content space to land without triggering resistance. People respond to this balance because it feels safe, trustworthy,
and genuine. Adaptability enhances the effectiveness of a calm tone. Different situations require subtle shifts in volume, emphasis, or pacing, but the underlying steadiness remains. Flexibility in delivery shows that you are aware of the listener's needs while maintaining composure. This adaptability communicates awareness, consideration, and thoughtfulness. It demonstrates that your authority is rooted in understanding, not in domination or control. People trust leaders who adjust their approach thoughtfully while staying anchored in calmness. Storytelling, when done in a calm voice, can be incredibly persuasive. Sharing experiences, lessons, or observations in a steady tone allows the listener to absorb the meaning without distraction or emotional overload. The calm delivery emphasizes the message rather than the dramatics of the story. People are more likely to remember and act upon ideas when they are presented clearly, calmly, and with consistent emotional balance. This is why leaders who master calm speech have a disproportionate influence on their audience. Accountability strengthens trust in every interaction. When you speak in a calm tone while taking responsibility for your actions, admitting mistakes, or clarifying decisions, you demonstrate maturity and integrity. People respect honesty delivered without defensiveness or agitation. Calm speech communicates that you are in control of yourself and your circumstances. This quiet strength fosters confidence in your leadership and builds long-lasting trust that cannot be manufactured or forced. Listening to feedback also reinforces trust through tone. When you receive input calmly, acknowledge it thoughtfully, and respond without defensiveness, your authority grows. People perceive your steadiness as emotional intelligence and reliability. Your voice communicates that you are approachable, rational, and capable of growth. Trust is not built solely through declarations or instructions. It is cultivated through consistent, calm, and measured interactions that demonstrate competence and care. Finally, patience amplifies the impact of a calm, steady voice. Trust is not instant. It is earned over time through repeated demonstrations of reliability, clarity, and composure. Speaking calmly, even when the situation feels urgent or frustrating, shows patience and self-control. People notice this, they internalize, they begin to believe that your judgment is sound and your intentions are pure. Speaking in a calm, steady tone is not about dominating the moment. It is about consistently showing others that you can be relied upon. When you combine awareness, breathing, pacing, consistency, listening, silence, emotional control, preparation, body language, careful word choice, practice, emotional resonance, adaptability, storytelling, accountability, responsiveness to feedback, and patience, you cultivate a voice that naturally builds trust. This is a voice that does not need to shout, demand, or manipulate. It is a voice that commands attention because it communicates stability, competence, and integrity. Every word spoken in this manner strengthens relationships, inspires confidence, and establishes influence without force. Trust earned through calm, steady speech is enduring. It is noticed in boardrooms, in conversations with colleagues, in public speaking, and in personal interactions. People rely on it because it signals consistency, fairness, and reliability. When your tone is steady, your words are measured, and your presence is calm, you are no longer just speaking. You are creating a psychological environment in which people feel safe, understood, and inspired to follow your lead. This is the essence of leadership and influence. Speaking with a calm, steady tone is a skill that can be developed intentionally. Each interaction, each conversation, each presentation becomes a laboratory for practice. Over time, the effect multiplies. Your credibility grows, your influence spreads, and your ability to guide, support, and inspire others strengthens. People begin to trust you not just for what you say, but for how you say it. They begin to trust you for who you are and how you handle yourself. This is the kind of trust that transforms ordinary leaders into respected, effective, and remembered one.
Chapter 3. Show confidence by keeping your message simple and direct. Confidence in communication is not about using big words, elaborate sentences, or trying to sound impressive. True confidence comes from clarity. It comes from the ability to convey your thoughts in a way that others can easily understand, remember, and act upon. Simplicity and directness are the hallmarks of authority. People are drawn to those who express ideas in a clear and straightforward way because it removes confusion, builds trust, and demonstrates mastery. When your message is simple, it reflects that you understand the subject thoroughly. Complexity often signals uncertainty or insecurity, while simplicity signals clarity of thought and control over your knowledge. To communicate simply, begin by understanding exactly what you want to say. Before speaking, take a moment to identify the core message. Ask yourself, what is the most important point I want others to grasp? Straying from that point or including unnecessary details dilutes the impact of your words. People appreciate a message that goes straight to the point. They feel respect and confidence in a speaker who can distill complex ideas into accessible language. This is where leadership begins, by creating understanding, not confusion. Directness in communication requires courage. It means speaking without hedging, without hiding behind unnecessary explanations, and without overcomplicating your point. Many people fear being direct because they worry about offending others or making mistakes. Confidence is not the absence of caution, but the presence of clarity. Speaking directly shows that you trust your knowledge and trust the audience to handle the truth. It communicates authority because people sense that you are in control of the conversation and clear about your intention. Direct speech saves time, avoids misunderstandings, and positions you as someone reliable and competent. Simplicity also requires refining your language. Avoid jargon, technical terms, or phrases that your audience may not fully understand. Speak as if you are having a meaningful conversation with a friend who wants to learn. Your goal is not to impress, it is to connect. Choose words that are precise and easy to follow. Eliminate filler words, redundant phrases, and convoluted explanations. Every sentence should have a purpose. When your words are intentional, confidence naturally emerges. People trust those who speak without clutter because they feel that every statement matters. Another essential element is structure. Even a simple message can be confusing if it is presented in a haphazard way. Organize your ideas logically. Start with the main point. Follow with supporting evidence or examples. End with a clear takeaway. This structure helps your audience follow along effortlessly. When listeners can anticipate the flow of your message, they feel calm, engaged, and confident in your authority. Speaking with a simple and direct structure demonstrates leadership because it shows that you can guide people through your ideas without them getting lost. Pausing is a powerful tool for keeping your message direct. Many speakers feel compelled to fill silence with extra words, tangents, or explanations. Every time you speak unnecessarily, you dilute the strength of your message. Thoughtful pauses give your audience time to absorb what you are saying and allow your words to land with impact. Pausing is also a sign of confidence. It communicates that you are comfortable in your own presence and trust that your message is sufficient. When people hear measured speech punctuated by deliberate pauses, they perceive authority and clarity. The confidence in simplicity is also reflected in tone. Speaking clearly and evenly emphasizes the directness of your message. Avoid rapid speech, rising intonation at the end of statements, or nervous fluctuations that signal doubt. A steady tone signals certainty. It reinforces the clarity of your words. Even if the message is difficult, a calm and consistent tone assures listeners that you understand it fully and are in control of the discussion. Confidence is not just in what you say, but in how your voice carries the meaning. Preparation strengthens simplicity and directness. When you have a thorough understanding of your topic, you can strip away unnecessary details without losing substance. People who rely on surface knowledge often compensate by over-explaining or adding filler. A prepared speaker, however, can focus on the essential points because they know the full scope internally. Preparation also allows you to anticipate questions, objections, or confusion, enabling you to respond directly and confidently. This readiness signals competence and reliability, which enhances both clarity and trust. Active listening is another element that supports simple and direct communication. When you truly listen to others, you can tailor your response in a way that addresses their needs and concerns directly. This eliminates unnecessary explanations or tangents. Listening demonstrates that you are focused on the conversation rather than your own performance. It also ensures that your message is relevant, precise, and meaningful. Directness combined with attentiveness conveys respect, understanding, and authority simultaneously. Confidence in simplicity also involves saying no to unnecessary words or ideas. Many people feel the urge to overcomplicate their message because they believe it will make them sound smarter or more persuasive. In reality, this approach often has the opposite effect. Overloading a listener with information creates confusion and reduces your impact. Every word that does not serve the purpose of your message is a distraction. Trusting yourself enough to leave out unnecessary content is a mark of self-assurance and leadership. Confidence allows you to be selective, intentional, and precise. Simplicity encourages action. When your message is easy to understand, people are more likely to follow it. Complex or overly detailed instructions can paralyze an audience. Confidence paired with directness provides clarity on what needs to be done. People respond to leaders who make decisions easy to grasp and implement. Your words become a bridge between ideas and action, and your authority grows because people trust that following your guidance will lead to results. Feedback is essential in refining the ability to communicate simply and directly. Pay attention to how people respond to your message. Are they confused? Are they asking for clarification repeatedly? Are they engaged or disengaged? This feedback is invaluable for improving your clarity. Confident speakers actively seek understanding rather than assuming they have communicated effectively. Adjusting your delivery based on audience response is a demonstration of mastery, adaptability, and humility. It reinforces trust because people see that you care about clarity and comprehension. Simplicity in messaging does not mean oversimplifying ideas or withholding important detail. It is about prioritizing the most impactful points and presenting them clearly. Focus on what truly matters and leave out what is secondary. Directness ensures that every point is actionable, understandable, and memorable. Confidence emerges naturally when you know that your message is not only complete, but also digestible. People feel your authority because they can follow your reasoning effortlessly, without mental strain. Nonverbal cues enhance the perception of simplicity and directness. Gestures, eye contact, and posture should support your message rather than distract from it. Calm, open, and deliberate movements reinforce the clarity of your words. Avoid fidgeting, excessive hand motions, or nervous habits. Every nonverbal signal should align with the directness of your speech. This alignment communicates consistency and strengthens trust. People are more likely to remember and act on messages that are reinforced both verbally and visually. Confidence in simplicity also benefits from storytelling. Even when sharing an example or anecdote, keep the narrative focused and concise. Stories should illustrate the point directly, without unnecessary tangents. A well-chosen story makes your message relatable, memorable, and actionable. It strengthens your voice and demonstrates mastery, because you can communicate complex ideas in a simple, relatable form. Listeners feel clarity, connection, and inspiration simultaneously.
Simplicity encourages reflection. When your words are clear and direct, listeners can process and internalize the meaning without distraction. Complex or convoluted speech overloads the brain and reduces retention. Confidence is amplified when you realize that fewer words can have a more powerful effect. Each statement carries weight because it is precise and intentional. People trust those who speak in a way that respects their ability to understand without unnecessary complexity. Consistency in style is crucial. Repeatedly communicating in a simple and direct manner establishes a predictable pattern that others can rely on. Predictability in communication does not mean boredom, it means dependability. People know what to expect from you. This trust in predictability reinforces your authority and creates a lasting impression. Each interaction strengthens confidence because your clarity and directness are reinforced over time. Self-awareness supports confidence in simplicity. Monitor your own tendencies to over-explain, hedge or add unnecessary details. Recognize moments when nervousness or excitement might tempt you to complicate your message. By maintaining awareness, you can adjust in real time. Keeping your speech focused and clear. Awareness of your strengths and limitations allows you to communicate with honesty, authenticity, and authority. People sense this self-awareness and respond positively to it. Finally, practice reinforces the ability to communicate simply and direct. Every conversation, every presentation, and every interaction becomes an opportunity to refine your message. Practice identifying the core point, delivering it clearly, and trimming unnecessary language. With consistent effort, your natural confidence grows. Speaking with simplicity becomes second nature. People begin to expect clarity from you. They listen attentively. They follow your guidance. Your influence expands because clarity and confidence are inseparable in the perception of leadership. Confidence is built when your words are understandable, purposeful, and actionable. Simplicity amplifies this confidence. Directness ensures that your ideas are heard and acted upon. When you combine these elements, your communication becomes magnetic. People are drawn to it because it is clear, consistent, and intentional. They trust you because they understand you. They respect you because you do not waste their time or cloud your message with unnecessary complexity. Your authority is natural, earned, and unshakable. When you fully embrace this principle, speaking simply and direct transforms every interaction. Meetings become productive. Presentations become compelling. Conversations become memorable. Decisions become easier to follow. Trust grows organically. Confidence becomes visible. People respect your judgment and rely on your guidance. This is the power of simplicity and directness. Speaking with clarity is not just a technique, it is a reflection of your mastery, discipline, and respect for the people you serve.
Chapter 4. Guide people by sharing thoughts with courage and clarity. Leadership is not about controlling others. It is about guiding them through clarity and courage. Every person looks for direction in moments of uncertainty. They notice those who are willing to step forward, speak honestly, and offer insight that others can rely on. Courage and clarity in communication are not just skills. They are habits that demonstrate integrity, thoughtfulness, and authenticity. People follow leaders who do not shy away from expressing their ideas confidently and clearly because it provides a roadmap in situations where doubt and confusion might otherwise take over. Courage in communication begins with honesty. It requires the willingness to share your thoughts even when they are unpopular, untested, or challenge the status quo. Many avoid expressing their true perspective because they fear criticism, rejection, or conflict. Courage is the refusal to allow fear to dictate what you say. It is the choice to speak from conviction, grounded in preparation and understanding. When you share your thoughts courageously, people sense that your intentions are genuine. They trust that your guidance is rooted in purpose, not in personal agenda or convenience. Clarity is equally critical. Courage without clarity can be misinterpreted, creating confusion rather than guidance. Clarity means articulating your ideas in a structured, logical, and concise way. It requires knowing what is essential and being able to communicate it in a manner that others can understand quickly. People do not follow messages that are muddled or convoluted. When your thoughts are organized, direct, and accessible, you empower others to take action. Clarity transforms courage into influence. Without clarity, even the bravest words may fail to inspire trust or action. Before sharing your thoughts, reflect on the purpose of your message. Ask yourself why this matters and what outcome you hope to take. Leaders do not speak randomly or impulsively. They speak with intention. Understanding the goal behind your words allows you to focus your message on what truly matters, cutting away unnecessary details and distractions. This intentionality communicates confidence. People notice when someone speaks with purpose rather than habit. Clarity and courage are amplified when your words are rooted in meaningful intent. Courage requires self-awareness. Recognize the moments when you are hesitant to speak. Identify the internal doubts that hold you back. The act of acknowledging fear without letting it control your speech builds resilience. It strengthens the habit of expressing thoughts even in challenging situations. People respond positively to those who can remain composed while addressing difficult topics because it shows stability and maturity. Speaking with courage is not about being fearless, it is about acting in spite of fear. Clarity is built through preparation. Knowing your subject matter, understanding your audience, and anticipating questions are essential. When you are prepared, your thoughts flow naturally and coherently. Preparation reduces hesitation, eliminates vagueness, and strengthens your confidence. People sense preparation instinctively. They feel reassured when ideas are presented logically and directly. Being prepared allows your courage to shine because you are not relying on improvisation or guesswork. Your clarity becomes a reflection of mastery and thoughtfulness. Delivering your message with courage also requires control over tone and body language. Your voice should reflect confidence, even in challenging situations. Avoid hurried speech, shaky intonation, or defensive energy. A steady, firm, and calm voice communicates that you are secure in what you are saying. Your posture and gestures should reinforce what you are saying. Your posture and gestures should reinforce your words. When your presence aligns with your speech, your thoughts are perceived as more credible and authoritative. Courage and clarity are reinforced through consistent non-verbal cues. Vulnerability is a subtle but powerful part of guiding others effectively. Courage does not mean presenting yourself as infallible. It means admitting what you do not know, acknowledging potential mistakes, and speaking honestly about challenges. People trust leaders who are real, authentic, and transparent. When you combine vulnerability with clear guidance, you demonstrate both humility and authority. Your words carry more weight because they are rooted in truth rather than pretense. Clarity ensures that your message is easy to follow, while courage ensures it is delivered despite discomfort or risk. Empathy strengthens the ability to guide others. Understanding the emotional state and perspective of your audience allows you to communicate more effectively. When you recognize their concerns, challenges, and motivations, you can frame your thoughts in a way that resonates. Courage without empathy can feel aggressive, while clarity without empathy can feel cold. Together, empathy, clarity, and courage create a communication style that inspires trust, motivates action, and establishes genuine influence. People feel guided rather than commanded. Simplifying your message is critical to clarity. Even the most complex ideas can be broken down into digestible, actionable points. Avoid overcomplicating explanations or using unnecessary details. Focus on the essentials, the core principles, steps, or decisions that people need to understand. Direct, uncomplicated communication signals mastery because it shows you have internalized the material. Complexity often masks insecurity, while simplicity reflects confidence and understanding. Clear, concise guidance allows people to follow your direction without hesitation. Listening is a key component of courageous and clear communication. Effective leaders do not simply speak, they listen first. By understanding questions, concerns, and feedback, you can tailor your guidance in a precise and relevant way. Listening demonstrates respect and ensures that your message addresses what people truly need. Courage is reinforced when your words are not arbitrary, but responsive. Clarity is strengthened because you can remove unnecessary assumptions and focus on what matters. People feel seen, understood, and inspired to follow. Pausing strategically amplifies clarity and courage. Thoughtful pauses give your audience space to process information and emphasize the importance of your points. They also signal self-assurance. Leaders who rush often undermine the perceived authority of their message. A pause before responding or between key points demonstrates that you are deliberate, thoughtful, and confident. People notice when words are chosen carefully rather than spoken impulsively. Courageous communication is strengthened when paired with intentional rhythm. Confidence in clarity comes from internal conviction. If you do not believe in your ideas, it shows immediately. Courage and clarity are inseparable from the level of certainty you have in your message. Internal alignment between your knowledge, values, and intentions allows you to express thoughts in a way that is authentic and commanding. People detect hesitation and inconsistency quickly, but they also recognize genuine conviction. Speaking from this place of alignment ensures that your guidance is respected and followed. Accountability enhances the impact of courageous and clear communication. When you provide guidance, take responsibility for outcomes, own your recommendations, admit limitations, and clarify next. People respect those who do not shift blame or avoid responsibility. Accountability combined with clarity and courage demonstrates maturity, reliability, and ethical leadership. Trust grows because your audience sees that your guidance is dependable and grounded in reality. Feedback should be welcomed and integrated thoughtfully. Courageous leaders are not afraid of correction or alternative perspectives. They see feedback as an opportunity to enhance clarity and refine their guidance. A willingness to adjust demonstrates humility without weakening authority. People respect a leader who is confident enough to consider other viewpoints while maintaining a clear and purposeful message. Courage is reinforced through openness, and clarity is sharpened through reflection. Repetition of key points in a structured way reinforces understanding without losing simplicity. Highlighting the essential ideas ensures that the message sticks while maintaining clarity. People often need to hear important concepts multiple times to fully internalize them. Courage ensures you do not avoid emphasizing points, even when it feels repetitive, and clarity ensures that repetition is focused, purposeful, and easy to grasp. This combination builds comprehension, trust, and actionable insight. Tone and energy must match content. Speaking passionately yet calmly communicates conviction and clarity simultaneously. Excessive excitement or aggression can obscure your message. Monotony can diminish engagement. A balanced approach allows your audience to focus on the ideas rather than emotional extremes. Courage manifests in the confidence to maintain this balance, even when under pressure. Clarity is enhanced because the listener's attention is directed to the content rather than distractions in delivery. Courageous and clear guidance also benefits from framing.
Start with context, explain the reasoning, and conclude with actionable insight. This structure ensures that your thoughts are understandable and that your audience knows precisely what to take away. It also reflects preparation, consideration, and leadership. People naturally trust those who can outline their thinking coherently. The structure itself demonstrates that your message is intentional, thought through, and reliable. Consistency in communicating with courage and clarity strengthens perception over time. Every conversation, decision, or presentation is an opportunity to reinforce this approach. People notice patterns of reliability and begin to anticipate that your guidance will always be clear, direct, and delivered with conviction. This repeated demonstration solidifies trust and influence. Consistency communicates stability and professionalism, which amplifies your ability to guide effectively. Mentorship enhances clarity and courage. Engaging with others who have mastered direct, confident communication provides insight, feedback, and reinforcement. Observing their techniques and integrating them into your style strengthens your own ability to guide people. Courage grows when you model behavior after those you respect, and clarity deepens as you adopt proven methods of structuring thought. Continuous learning and adaptation reinforce authority and influence. Clarity can also be enhanced through visual or structural aids. Using simple examples, clear analogies, or concise summaries helps reinforce the message. Courage lies in taking the time to ensure comprehension rather than assuming understanding. People appreciate when guidance is not only spoken, but also supported in ways that make it easier to grasp. This deliberate effort demonstrates intentionality, thoughtfulness, and respect. Finally, courage and clarity in guidance inspire action. People follow leaders, not just because they speak, but because they provide a clear path forward. When your ideas are understandable, focused, and delivered with confidence, others feel capable of acting on them. Clear communication transforms abstract concepts into actionable steps. Courage ensures that you do not hesitate to guide others, even when the decisions are challenging or unpopular. People rely on leaders who speak with both clarity and bravery. When all of these elements are practiced consistently, guiding people becomes natural. Courage allows you to speak even in difficult situations. Clarity ensures that your words are understood and actionable. Listening, preparation, structure, accountability, tone, feedback, and consistency reinforce the message. People sense your competence, trust your judgment, and feel confident following your direction. Leadership is no longer about command. It is about providing a steady, trustworthy presence that enables others to navigate uncertainty with confidence.
Chapter 5. Earn respect by speaking with emotional control and patience. Respect is not given freely. It is earned through consistency, integrity, and the way you handle yourself in every interaction. One of the most powerful ways to earn respect is through how you speak. The words you choose, the tone you use, and the way you manage your emotions during communication signal much more than your ideas alone. People respect those who can express themselves without being driven by impulse, anger, or frustration. Emotional control and patience are not signs of weakness. They are signs of maturity, self-discipline, and authority. Speaking with emotional control begins with understanding your own triggers. Everyone has moments when tension, stress, or frustration threatens to influence speech. Recognizing these triggers before they escalate is essential. Awareness allows you to pause, reflect, and choose your words carefully rather than reacting impulsively. People notice when a leader remains composed even under pressure. Calmness communicates strength, stability, and reliability. Emotional control allows your message to be received clearly and ensures that your presence fosters confidence rather than anxiety. Patience is the second cornerstone of respect in communication. Patience allows you to listen attentively, respond thoughtfully, and avoid rushing to conclusion. Many people lose respect for those who interrupt, dominate conversations, or react hastily. When you take the time to process information, consider perspectives, and respond deliberately, people feel valued and understood. This thoughtful approach conveys that you respect both the conversation and the individuals involved. Patience combined with emotional control ensures that your words carry weight and meaning. Control over tone is critical. A steady, measured tone demonstrates composure, confidence, and thoughtfulness. Emotional fluctuations, rising pitches, or sharp tones can signal instability or agitation, undermining respect. Speaking with calm precision conveys that you are in control of both your mind and your message. People are naturally drawn to individuals who can manage themselves under stress, because it creates a sense of safety, reliability, and trust. Emotional control in tone communicates authority without the need for dominance or force. Breathing is a fundamental tool for maintaining emotional control. Deep, deliberate breaths calm the nervous system, steady your voice, and provide mental clarity. When emotions run high, taking a moment to inhale fully and exhale slowly allows you to reset before responding. This simple practice prevents reactive speech and supports patient communication. People notice the subtle difference when words are delivered with composure. Each measured statement reinforces respect because it signals intentionality and self-discipline. Listening is inseparable from both emotional control and patience. Respect is earned when people feel heard and understood. Active listening requires focusing entirely on the speaker, resisting the urge to interrupt, and considering the perspective presented. It allows your responses to be thoughtful rather than reactive. When you combine patient listening with measured speech, your authority becomes undeniable. People respect leaders who can listen without judgment, absorb information, and respond with clarity and composure. Avoiding impulsive reactions is another critical element. In moments of disagreement or criticism, instinct to respond immediately or defensively can be strong. Emotional control requires delaying response until you have assessed the situation objectively. Patience ensures that your reply is intentional rather than impulsive. By managing reactions, you communicate maturity, rationality, and reliability. Respect grows because people recognize that you are not governed by fleeting emotions, but by principle and consideration. Preparation strengthens emotional control and patience. Knowing your facts, understanding the context, and anticipating challenges allow you to respond confidently and thoughtfully. People respect speakers who appear composed because they sense readiness. Confidence rooted in preparation enables calm and patient communication, even under unexpected pressure. When you are prepared, your words reflect both clarity and authority, reducing the likelihood of emotional missteps and reinforcing credibility. Clarity in speech reinforces respect when paired with emotional control. A clear, direct message delivered calmly demonstrates mastery of both content and composure. Avoid overcomplicating explanations or speaking in a way that signals uncertainty. People respect clarity because it allows them to understand your perspective without confusion. Emotional control ensures that this clarity is maintained regardless of external pressures or challenges. Together, patience and composure create communication that is both compelling and trustworthy. Tone, pacing, and volume must align with composure. Speaking too fast signals urgency or agitation, while excessive pauses can indicate hesitation. Volume that fluctuates with emotion distracts from the content. A steady, balanced approach communicates that you are confident, thoughtful, and in control. Patience is conveyed through measured pacing, allowing listeners to absorb information fully. Emotional control is reinforced when delivery remains steady and consistent, enhancing credibility and the perception of authority. Nonverbal communication amplifies the impact of controlled and patient speech. Gestures, posture, and facial expressions should align with the calm tone of your words. Nervous movements, fidgeting, or abrupt gestures can undermine credibility. Composed body language communicates assurance and stability, reinforcing the emotional control in your speech. People perceive alignment between verbal and nonverbal cues as authenticity. Respect is naturally earned when communication is consistent across both what is said and how it is expressed. Managing challenging conversations is an opportunity to demonstrate respect through emotional control. When conflict arises, maintaining composure allows you to guide the discussion constructively. Patience enables you to hear all sides before responding. Avoiding defensive or reactive language ensures that dialogue remains productive rather than destructive. People respect those who can navigate difficult interactions without escalating tension. Calm, patient communication transforms potential conflict into an opportunity for trust and influence. Empathy enhances the effectiveness of controlled and patient speech. Understanding the emotions and perspectives of others allows you to respond thoughtfully. Empathetic communication conveys that you value the listener's experience, while emotional control ensures your message is delivered rationally. Patience allows space for reflection and understanding. People respect leaders who balance firmness with understanding, demonstrating both authority and compassion in their interactions. Strategic silence is a tool for patience and emotional control. Pausing before responding gives you time to process information, choose words carefully, and maintain composure. Silence also emphasizes key points, signaling thoughtfulness and authority. People are more likely to respect speakers who do not rush their words and who demonstrate confidence in allowing moments of reflection. Controlled pauses enhance the weight of your message and reinforce patience. Consistent practice is essential for mastering emotional control and patience. Every conversation, meeting, or discussion is an opportunity to refine the ability to speak thoughtfully. Over time, maintaining composure becomes natural, and patient communication becomes habitual. Respect grows cumulatively as people recognize your consistent behavior. Leaders who demonstrate repeated calm, measured, and patient communication earn credibility that endures beyond any single interaction. Patience is required to explain, clarify, or rectify misunderstandings without defensiveness or agitation. People respect leaders who handle mistakes calmly because it communicates integrity, reliability, and self-awareness. Composure in adversity distinguishes respected communicators from those who are reactive or volatile. Providing feedback with emotional control is another avenue for earning respect. Constructive feedback delivered calmly and thoughtfully is far more effective than criticism delivered in anger or frustration. Patience ensures that your message is received and understood without triggering defensiveness. Respect is earned because people perceive your guidance as measured, fair, and focused on growth rather than personal grievance. Controlled communication fosters trust and reinforces authority simultaneously. Mindfulness supports both patience and emotional control. Being present in every conversation allows you to respond intentionally rather than reactively. Mindful attention ensures that you are aware of your emotions, the tone of your speech, and the needs of your audience. People sense this presence and respond positively. Speaking with awareness strengthens your ability to remain calm under pressure, maintain composure, and guide interactions effectively. Respect is naturally cultivated through deliberate, mindful communication. Confidence is reinforced through controlled and patient speech. When you do not let emotions dictate your words, people see that your authority is grounded in reason, preparation, and self-discipline.
Confidence is not about being loud or dominating the conversation. It is about speaking with clarity, control, and purpose. Patience ensures that you provide space for dialogue and reflection, allowing your audience to engage meaningfully. Together, composure and patience communicate leadership that is respected and followed. Adapting to the audience is essential. Some individuals respond better to firm guidance, while others require careful explanation and encouragement. Emotional control allows you to adjust without losing composure. Patience gives you the flexibility to meet the needs of diverse listeners. People respect leaders who can communicate effectively across personalities and situations without compromising clarity or integrity. This adaptability amplifies influence and strengthens trust. The long-term impact of emotional control and patience is profound. People remember leaders who remain calm under pressure, speak thoughtfully, and allow others space to engage. Respect earned through this approach is durable because it is based on consistent behavior, integrity, and the ability to manage oneself in every situation. Unlike respect gained through dominance, aggression, or intimidation, it is lasting and genuine. People trust, follow, and advocate for those who demonstrate maturity, composure, and patience consistent. Even in moments of high tension or conflict, speaking with control and patience sets the tone for everyone else. Others unconsciously mirror your composure, leading to more productive, thoughtful, and respectful. Emotional control becomes contagious, creating environments where collaboration, understanding, and trust thrive. Patience ensures that conversations remain focused, deliberate, and solution-oriented. Leaders who master these skills not only earn respect individually, but also elevate the culture of the teams and communities they lead. Respect is cumulative. Each interaction, where you speak calmly, listen actively, and respond patiently, builds a foundation that others notice and appreciate. People follow those who can handle difficulty without reacting impulsively, because it signals reliability and maturity. Emotional control allows for rational decisions, clarity of communication, and effective guidance. Patience provides the space for understanding, reflection, and meaningful engagement. Together they form the bedrock of respect in leadership.
Chapter 6. Connect deeply by giving people your full attention. Connection is the foundation of influence. People do not remember what you said, they remember how you made them feel. Giving someone your full attention is one of the most powerful ways to communicate that they matter, that their words, emotions, and presence are valuable. Attention is not passive, it is deliberate, focused, and intentional. Every person wants to feel heard. When you give your complete focus to someone, you communicate respect, empathy, and trustworthiness. This is the heart of deep connection. True attention begins with being present. Presence is more than just physical proximity. It is engaging mentally and emotionally with the person in front of you. It means setting aside distractions, resisting the urge to think about your response while they speak, and immersing yourself fully in the moment. People can sense when someone is only half listening. The absence of attention communicates indifference or self-absorption. By contrast, undivided focus makes others feel acknowledged, valued, and understood. Presence is the first step in creating meaningful and lasting relationships. Active listening is essential to connecting deeply. Listening is not simply hearing words, it is understanding meaning, emotion, and intention behind the message. It involves observing tone, body language, and subtle cues that reveal more than spoken words. When you listen actively, you show that you care about the whole person, not just the conversation. This level of engagement builds trust, strengthens rapport, and allows you to respond in ways that are genuinely relevant. People naturally gravitate toward those who truly listen. Patience enhances attention. Many people are eager to respond or provide solutions before the other person finishes speaking. Interrupting or rushing shows a lack of respect and diminishes connection. Patience means giving space for others to express themselves fully, without pressure or judgment. By allowing someone the time to communicate their thoughts and feelings, you create an environment where honesty and openness flourish. Patience combined with full attention signals that their words are important and worth hearing in their entirety. Eliminating distractions is a fundamental component of focus. Phones, notifications, and wandering thoughts dilute attention. Even small distractions can signal to someone that they are not your priority. To connect deeply, you must consciously remove these barriers. Turn devices off or set them aside. Maintain eye contact. Orient your body toward the person speaking. These simple but intentional actions communicate that you are fully present and engaged. Focus is a form of respect, and respect forms the foundation of connection. Empathy strengthens the connection when you give full attention. Paying attention is not only about hearing words, it is about understanding emotions and perspective. Try to feel what the other person is feeling, without judgment or interpretation. Responding with empathy does not mean you must agree, but it does mean you acknowledge the reality of their experience. People are drawn to those who can validate their emotions, recognize their struggles, and appreciate their viewpoint. Empathy and attention together create a bond that goes beyond superficial conversation. Asking thoughtful questions demonstrates your engagement. Questions signal that you are listening and interested in more than a surface-level response. They allow the speaker to expand on their ideas and provide depth to the conversation. Questions should arise naturally from what is being said, showing that you are not just following a script, but are genuinely immersed in the discussion. People feel valued when their ideas prompt curiosity and exploration from someone who cares. This is how attention evolves into deep connection. Feedback must be mindful and intentional. When you respond, ensure that your words reflect understanding rather than judgment. Paraphrase, summarize, or reflect what has been said to confirm that you truly understand. This not only validates the speaker, but also demonstrates that your attention is active and deliberate. People are more likely to trust and engage with those who listen carefully and respond thoughtfully, rather than react impulsively. Respect and credibility are reinforced through measured responses. Nonverbal communication reinforces attention. Eye contact, nodding, leaning slightly forward, and open posture communicate that you are present and receptive. Facial expressions aligned with the conversation show engagement and understanding. These subtle cues complement verbal acknowledgement, creating a sense of full presence. People notice and appreciate nonverbal signals because they reveal authenticity. Alignment between body language and spoken words strengthens trust and deepens connection. Silence is a powerful tool when giving full attention. Pausing after someone speaks shows that you are processing what they have said, giving the words space to resonate. Silence conveys patience, reflection, and respect for the speaker's thoughts. It also prevents rushed responses that might undermine the depth of the conversation. When used thoughtfully, silence allows conversations to unfold naturally, fostering a sense of intimacy and understanding that is rare in hurried interactions. Mindful observation enhances the depth of attention. Notice subtle cues such as tone, pace, and inflection. Observe facial expressions, gestures, and shifts in body language. These details provide insight into emotions and priorities that may not be explicitly stated. Responding to these signals with understanding demonstrates that your attention is holistic, not superficial. People feel profoundly seen when others notice nuances in their communication. This attention to detail builds trust and loyalty. Consistency in attention strengthens relationships over time. A one-time focused interaction is valuable, but repeated demonstrations of full attention
create lasting bonds. People remember those who consistently give them their time, energy, and presence. Consistency communicates reliability, patience, and respect. Over time, this habitual practice fosters a reputation for being genuinely engaged, trustworthy, and emotionally intelligent. Deep connection is cultivated through repeated intentional acts of focus. Avoiding judgment is essential when giving attention. When people speak, they are vulnerable. Responding with criticism, impatience, or defensiveness can shut down the conversation. Full attention requires creating a safe environment where people feel free to share honestly. Even if you disagree, listen fully before forming conclusions or responses. Respecting the speaker's perspective reinforces trust and strengthens emotional connection. People are more willing to open up when they feel they will be received without judgment. Focus is enhanced by curiosity. Approach conversations with a genuine interest in learning and understanding. Curiosity shifts the focus away from self-concern and toward the speaker, allowing attention to be more immersive. People sense genuine curiosity and respond with openness and engagement. Asking questions, seeking clarification, and exploring underlying motivations communicate that you value both the ideas and the person behind them. Curiosity deepens connection by fostering meaningful dialogue. Adaptability is key to maintaining attention. Different individuals communicate differently. Some are expressive, others reserved. Adjusting your listening approach to match the speaker's style demonstrates attentiveness and respect. Notice energy levels, pace, and emotional cues to respond appropriately. By adapting to the needs of the conversation, you maintain full engagement and create a space where the speaker feels understood. People respect those who can read the room and adjust without losing composure or focus. Distractions of the mind are as important to manage as external distractions. Thoughts about past conversations, tasks, or personal concerns can dilute attention. Practice bringing your mind fully into the present moment. Techniques such as deep breathing, mental grounding, or subtle visualization can help maintain focus. Mental presence signals commitment to the conversation and ensures that your engagement is authentic. People notice when your attention is concentrated on them rather than divided. Storytelling enhances connection when attention is fully given. Sharing relevant experiences, examples, or insights demonstrates that you are processing the conversation and contributing meaningfully. Stories should be concise, aligned with the discussion, and aimed at clarifying or reinforcing understanding. When delivered thoughtfully, they create resonance, encourage reflection, and strengthen emotional engagement. Attention allows you to select and deliver stories in ways that enhance connection rather than distract from it. Feedback loops strengthen the quality of attention. Check for understanding by summarizing or confirming key points with the speaker. This demonstrates active engagement and ensures alignment. It shows that your focus is not superficial and that you are committed to mutual understanding. Respect is earned when people perceive that their input has been heard, acknowledged, and considered in shaping the interaction. Attention becomes meaningful when it results in clarity and comprehension for both parties. Empowering others is a natural outcome of giving full attention. When people feel heard and understood, they gain confidence in their own ideas. Your focus validates their perspective and encourages further contribution. This fosters collaboration, trust, and mutual respect. Leaders who connect deeply through attention create environments where people feel capable, valued, and motivated to participate actively. Influence grows organically because attention communicates care and investment. Boundaries support attention by preventing divided focus. Giving your full presence does not mean sacrificing your own responsibilities or well-being. Setting limits ensures that when you are engaged, your attention is genuine and complete. People respect those who are fully present when required, but maintain structure in their commitments. Boundaries make focused attention sustainable and prevent dilution of energy across multiple distractions or obligations. Reflection enhances the practice of giving full attention. After conversations, review what was discussed, the dynamics involved, and how your attention contributed to understanding and connection. Consider what worked well and what could be improved in future interaction. Reflective practice reinforces mindfulness, strengthens awareness, and ensures continuous improvement in the quality of attention. People sense the growth in your engagement and respond positively over time. Ultimately, connection is not about talking more, it is about listening deeper. Giving full attention communicates respect, empathy, and trustworthiness. Emotional presence, active listening, patience, curiosity, adaptability, and reflection all reinforce the depth of connection. People feel valued and understood when you are fully present, and they naturally gravitate toward those who demonstrate this level of engagement. Connection grows when attention is consistent, deliberate, and genuine. Deep connection transforms relationships, both personal and professional. It fosters trust, loyalty, and collaboration. Influence becomes natural, not forced. People are more open, receptive, and willing to engage meaningfully. By giving full attention, you create a foundation where ideas are shared freely, understanding is mutual, and bonds are strengthened. Presence, focus, and engagement are not only skills, they are the currency of respect and influence.
Chapter 7. Strengthen your presence by using a steady, grounded voice. A steady, grounded voice has a quiet power that people feel before they even process your words. It's not about sounding dramatic, loud, or overly polished. It's about speaking with a calm certainty that comes from knowing who you are and what you want to say. When your voice is steady, people instinctively trust you more. They lean in, not because you force them to, but because your presence pulls them in without effort. Human beings are wired to respond to voices that feel safe, stable, and self-assured. A grounded voice sends an unspoken message that you are centered, unshaken, and in control of yourself. Your voice reveals your internal state long before your mind catches it. When you're nervous, your voice tends to speed up, lighten, tighten, or jump in pitch. When you're angry, it sharpens. When you're uncertain, it fades or wavers. People don't need special training to sense these changes. They pick them up automatically. That's why grounding your voice is really about grounding yourself. A person who speaks from a calm internal place naturally transmits confidence without trying to convince anyone of anything. The voice becomes an extension of the mind and emotions. Changing the voice starts with changing the state within. Slowing down your pace is one of the simplest ways to steady your voice. Not in a way that sounds unnatural or forced, but in a way that gives your words room to breathe. When you speak too quickly, it feels like you're trying to escape your own thoughts. A slower pace signals composure. It creates clarity. It helps people absorb what you're saying. Most importantly, it shows you're not afraid of silence. Silence, when used intentionally, strengthens presence. It shows comfort with yourself. It shows patience. A grounded voice isn't in a rush because it isn't performing. It is expressing. The depth of your voice plays a huge role, not in the sense of artificially lowering it, but in allowing your natural tone to settle. Many people speak from their throat when they're anxious, which creates a thin, unstable sound. When you breathe deeply and let your voice come from the chest, it becomes fuller, warmer, and more stable. A voice grounded in the body feels trustworthy because it feels real. People are drawn to authenticity, and the voice is one of the fastest ways they detect it. Speaking from the chest instead of the throat gives the impression of emotional stability and a sense of inner authority. Breathing is the anchor of a grounded voice. Shallow breathing triggers tension, and tension travels straight into your vocal tone. Deep, slow breaths calm the body and steady the voice. The quality of your breath shapes the quality of your presence. A grounded voice rides on grounded breathing. When your breath is steady, your speech becomes steadier without effort. People can hear calmness in the rhythm of your sentences, the pauses you take, and the ease in your tone. When the breath is centered, the voice becomes centered. Intention behind your words shapes the way your voice comes out. When you speak from a place of clarity, your tone becomes firm without being harsh. People can sense when your words have purpose. A steady voice does not wander. It doesn't sound unsure of itself. It reflects a mind that knows what it is trying to communicate. Before speaking, take a moment, just 1 second, to connect with what you want to express. This small pause settles your tone and aligns your message with your energy. You'll notice your voice becomes more grounded simply because your intention is grounded. The emotional weight of your voice changes how people feel around you. When your tone is controlled, even sensitive topics become easier for others to receive. People listen better when the speaker is calm. A grounded voice helps prevent misunderstandings because it strips away emotional noise. Instead of reacting to the tension in your voice, people can actually focus on the meaning behind your words. This gives you influence, not the loud, aggressive kind, but the quiet, powerful kind that gains respect naturally. Presence is strengthened by consistency. When your voice stays steady even under pressure, people trust you more. When your tone doesn't switch unpredictably, people feel safe. Sudden changes in vocal tone can confuse the listener because it signals uncertainty or emotional instability. Consistency doesn't mean being monotone. It means maintaining an underlying calmness that supports your natural expression. Whether you're discussing something exciting, serious, or difficult, keeping your tone centered shows maturity and self-awareness. Your voice becomes more grounded when you speak from honesty. People can hear truth. They can also hear pretense. When you speak something you don't fully believe, your tone shifts, even if slightly. The body resists saying things that don't feel aligned. A grounded voice carries sincerity. You don't need to exaggerate. You don't need to dramatize. Authenticity is magnetic. A simple sentence spoken from a grounded place can have more impact than a long speech trying to impress. Truth has a certain weight to it, and your voice reflects that weight. Physical posture affects vocal strength. When you slouch, your breath compresses and your voice loses power. When you stand or sit upright, you create room for your lungs to expand and for your voice to resonate. A steady voice comes from a body that feels open and balanced. You don't need to stand like a statue, just hold yourself in a way that feels natural but solid. When your body is grounded, your voice naturally becomes grounded. Human psychology responds instinctively to posture. A grounded posture, combined with a calm voice, amplifies your presence tenfold. People respond to voices that feel safe, particularly in emotionally charged situations. When conflict arises, the person with the calmest voice becomes the emotional anchor in the room. This doesn't require authority or power, it requires emotional steadiness. A grounded voice helps others stabilize their own feelings. It communicates, without saying it directly, "I am here, I am not shaken. You can trust the space we are in." This type of presence is rare, and because it is rare, it stands out. People remember the person who stays calm when others lose themselves. Your voice carries your boundaries. A steady tone communicates firmness without aggression. You don't need to raise your voice to assert yourself. In fact, a calm, grounded tone often feels stronger than a loud one. People listen more carefully when the speaker sounds centered. When you use a steady tone to express what you need, people understand you're serious, even without emotional intensity. It becomes clear that your calmness is not weakness, it is control. A grounded voice also helps you influence the emotional tone of any environment you're in. Speech creates atmosphere. The rhythm of your words shapes how people feel in your presence. If you speak in a rushed, uneasy tone, the room picks up that energy. If you speak in a steady, balanced way, the room relaxes. Humans unconsciously mirror vocal patterns. By grounding your voice, you guide the emotional state of everyone listening. People want to be around individuals who bring clarity and calmness to situations. Your voice becomes a source of stability for others. When you speak with a grounded voice, you naturally draw respect. Respect grows from the way you carry yourself, not the force of your words. People respect someone who can communicate calmly under pressure. They respect someone who does not let emotions take over their voice. They respect someone whose tone reflects inner strength, rather than external noise. Your voice becomes a mirror of your discipline, composure and depth. Even in moments of excitement, you can maintain a grounded tone. It's possible to express enthusiasm without losing steadiness. Many people believe that excitement requires raising the voice or speeding up, but true enthusiasm comes from energy, not volume. A grounded voice allows you to express passion in a way that still feels controlled and compelling. It keeps your expression balanced, so you don't overwhelm the listener. This balance makes your words more memorable and your presence more lasting. To strengthen your voice, speak as if you are rooted in your own thought. Imagine your words coming from a deeper place within, not just from your throat. This creates a tone that feels intentional. It gives weight to your sentences. It slows your rhythm naturally. When you imagine yourself as grounded, your voice follows. Presence begins with a mental image of stillness and confidence. Your voice then becomes an extension of that image. A steady voice encourages others to actually feel heard, because your tone gives them space. If your voice is sharp, rushed or tense, people feel pressured. But if your voice is calm and grounded, they open up. They share more. They feel understood. Your tone becomes an invitation rather than a barrier. A grounded voice creates emotional safety, and emotional safety creates connection. In the end, your voice is one of your most powerful tools for shaping how the world receives you. A steady, grounded voice shows self-control, emotional maturity, and clarity. People trust a voice that stays calm. People follow a voice that carries quiet confidence. People remember a voice that feels stable and sincere. Strengthening your presence through your voice doesn't require special talent. It requires awareness, intention, and practice. When you speak from a grounded place, you don't just communicate. You lead, you influence, and you create a space where others can feel centered too. A grounded voice reminds people that calmness is strength, that clarity is power, and that presence comes not from volume but from depth. Use your voice as an anchor, and you'll find that the world listens, not because you demand attention, but because your presence naturally commands it.
Chapter 8. Influence others by talking with purpose and real intention. Speaking with purpose and real intention is one of the strongest ways to influence people, because it shows you are not wasting their time and you are not speaking just to fill the air. You are speaking because you care about the meaning behind your words. When people sense that your words come from a sincere place, they listen differently. Their attention changes, their interest grows, their respect deepens. Human beings respond far more to intention than to volume. They don't follow the person who talks the most. They follow the person who speaks with meaning. When your intention is clear, your presence becomes stronger, and people feel the truth of what you're saying even before they fully understand it. Purpose in your voice is not about being forceful or dramatic. It's about knowing why you are speaking in the first place. Many people talk without ever considering the reason behind their words, and because of that, their communication feels scattered and hollow. When you speak with purpose, every sentence has direction. It carries weight. It moves the listener in a certain way, even if the message is simple. People can sense when your words come from conviction, and conviction is something that cannot be faked. It shows itself through tone, pace, and the stability of your voice. A purposeful voice tells others that you are aware of the impact your message can have. Real intention begins with clarity. Before you speak, you must understand what you want to create with your words. Do you want to help someone take a step forward? Do you want to share a lesson that can make their life easier? Do you want to correct a situation without hurting anyone? When you know your intention, your voice naturally shapes itself around it. A clear intention leads to clear expression. People trust someone who knows what they stand for. They trust someone who speaks from a place of direction, instead of uncertainty. Intention gives your message structure and makes your communication more meaningful. When you talk with intention, your words feel grounded. They are not rushed. They are not thrown around. They are not used to impress. You speak to connect, to guide, to offer something of value. This creates a strong emotional response in the listener because they feel your sincerity. They feel your commitment to what you're saying. They feel that you mean it. A person who speaks with intention creates a feeling of safety because the listener knows there is honesty behind the words. People are more willing to follow someone who communicates with this type of emotional clarity. Influence grows when people feel understood and valued. Intention helps you achieve this because it keeps your message focused on what matters to them. You begin to think not only about what you want to say, but also about how your words will affect the other person. This awareness makes your communication more thoughtful and more effective. People follow leaders who consider their feelings, needs, and struggles. When you speak with intention, you naturally adopt a more empathetic tone, because you are thinking about the person you're talking to, not just the point you want to make. A purposeful message has power because it moves people to action. When someone hears a message that comes from a place of conviction, it inspires them to act on their own thoughts. Purpose in your voice gives them strength. It encourages them to rise above fear. It gives them the spark they needed, but didn't know how to find. People want guidance, and they want someone who can help them see a clearer path. When your intention is genuine, your influence rises, not because you push people, but because you help them see what's possible for themselves. Intention also helps you stay consistent. When your words come from a centered place, you don't shift your tone based on the moment or the reaction you get. People notice this. When your message remains steady, your influence grows naturally. Consistency shows discipline. It shows reliability. People trust those who stand firm in their message and do not change themselves to gain approval. Speaking with intention keeps you aligned with your values. This alignment is powerful because it builds long-term respect. One of the strongest ways to speak with intention is to stay present. People can tell when your mind is wandering or when you're speaking out of habit rather than purpose. Presence shows seriousness. It shows commitment. When you are fully present in a conversation, the listener feels valued. They feel that their time matters to you. This deepens their connection to your message, and it makes your influence stronger than any loud or dramatic tone ever could. Real influence comes from presence, not pressure. Talking with purpose also eliminates unnecessary words. You don't feel the need to over-explain or fill silence. You say what matters, and you say it clearly. This makes your voice sharper, cleaner, and more memorable. People rarely remember long speeches,
but they remember sentences that are spoken with intention. Your message becomes easier to follow, and your meaning becomes easier to absorb. Simplicity combined with strong intention creates impact that lasts long after the conversation ends. People often assume influence comes from charisma or personality, but most of it comes from intention. Charisma without intention feels empty. Personality without intention feels inconsistent. But intention gives your communication substance. It gives it direction. It gives it meaning. Speaking with intention is one of the most accessible forms of influence, because it doesn't depend on talent or natural charm. It depends on awareness and sincerity. Anyone can develop it if they choose to speak with purpose rather than habit. Purpose in your voice changes the emotional atmosphere around you. When your intention is strong, people feel more comfortable opening up. They share more of their thoughts. They trust your guidance because they sense that you are speaking to help, not to control. They feel safe expressing themselves. Influence grows from this kind of emotional safety. The more you create it, the more people look to you for direction. Talking with intention also helps you stay emotionally stable. When you know what you want to say and why you want to say it, you are less likely to be thrown off by reactions or resistance. You stay grounded in your message. You speak from strength, not emotion. This emotional steadiness shows maturity, and people follow those who can remain steady, even in tense discussions. Intention gives you emotional clarity, and emotional clarity gives you influence. A powerful way to develop intention is to think about the outcomes your words can create. Every sentence has the potential to push someone forward or hold them back. When you speak with the purpose of helping people grow, your tone changes. It becomes gentler where it needs to be, stronger where it should be, and clearer because it is driven by meaning. People appreciate speakers who help them understand themselves better. Influence comes from helping others see their own potential. Real intention comes from honesty. When you speak from a place of sincerity, your voice carries a natural force that people feel immediately. They don't question your motives because your tone shows them your heart. They don't doubt your words because your intention supports every sound that comes out of your mouth. People follow voices that feel real. They run from voices that feel fake. Intention builds trust because it shows people you're not acting, you're expressing. When you talk with purpose, you communicate responsibility. You show others that you understand the effect your words can have. Purpose makes you careful with your message, not because you're fearful, but because you respect the influence your voice carries. When people sense this responsibility behind your tone, their respect for you increases. You become someone whose words matter, not because you insist on it, but because you've earned it. Influence grows from intention, because intention gives your voice weight. People follow the person whose words carry weight. People listen to the person whose words come from truth. They trust the person whose tone reflects purpose. They feel connected to the person who speaks to help rather than to impress. Purpose gives your voice depth. Intention gives your message life. When you talk with both, your influence expands naturally. Speaking with purpose and intention is not about being perfect. It's about being sincere. It's about showing people that your words come from a place of meaning. It's about letting them feel your commitment to the message you're sharing. When your voice carries purpose, people feel inspired to act, to grow, and to think more deeply about their own lives. That is real influence, the kind that lasts.
Chapter 9. Lead conversations by speaking from a centered, focused mind. When you speak from a mind that is centered and focused, your words carry a kind of quiet authority that others can feel without you needing to force anything. People naturally trust someone who seems grounded, someone who communicates as if their thoughts aren't being dragged around by stress, scattered emotions, or the need to impress. Leading a conversation isn't about controlling people or dominating the moment. It's about guiding the flow with presence, intention, and clarity, and that begins long before you open your mouth. It begins with the state of your inner world. Most people enter conversations already distracted. Their attention is split between what they want to say, how they think they might be judged, and the invisible noise running in the background of their minds. When you speak from that place, your words become shaky. You rush. You doubt yourself. You feel like you need to push harder just to be heard. But when your mind is steady, the whole atmosphere around your communication shifts. You don't chase the right moment, you create it. You don't struggle to be understood. People lean in because something about your presence feels calm, confident, and real. A centered mind doesn't come from pretending to be calm. It comes from observing yourself in the moments before you speak. The pause before your words is your power. In that pause, you give yourself space to breathe, to think, to settle into your body. You move yourself out of reaction and into intention. You stop speaking just to fill silence and start speaking because you have something meaningful to add. And even if what you say is simple, the energy behind it makes it impactful. People can sense when someone is mentally scattered. They might not be able to explain it, but they feel the tension, the pressure, the invisible rush. A centered mind removes that pressure completely. You talk slower, not because you are unsure, but because you are fully present with your thoughts. You choose your words, not out of fear, but out of clarity. That level of self-command naturally guides the conversation because others adjust to your pace. They feel the groundedness in your tone and respond with more openness and respect. Leading a conversation doesn't require force, it requires presence. A conversation is like a rhythm, and when you are centered, you become the anchor in that rhythm. Others follow your tone, your pace, your emotional temperature. If you're calm, the conversation calms. If you're thoughtful, the conversation becomes thoughtful. If you're deliberate, the conversation slows enough for real understanding to happen. You become the stabilizer, the one who prevents the whole interaction from drifting into confusion or emotional overreaction. One of the most powerful habits you can build is the practice of stepping into a conversation with the intention to understand before you aim to influence. When your mind is centered, you're not racing to defend yourself or rush into your opinion. You create space for the other person to feel heard, which increases their willingness to hear you. People follow the person who listens with intention, not with impatience. They follow the person who responds with clarity, not with anxiety. A focused mind has another advantage. It helps you avoid wasting energy on unnecessary emotional reaction. When your mind is scattered, every comment can feel like a threat. Every disagreement feels personal, and every silence feels uncomfortable. But when you're centered, you recognize these as normal parts of communication. You don't take things personally that weren't meant personal. You don't react to misunderstandings with frustration. You guide the conversation back to clarity with calm correction rather than emotional defensiveness. To lead a conversation with a centered mind, you must also let go of the need to win. The need to win makes your mind tense and narrow. The desire to be right disrupts your ability to listen. But when your goal is connection, understanding, and clarity, your mind expands. You become able to see the bigger picture, not just your side of it. You start responding to what the situation truly needs, instead of reacting based on ego. People are drawn to those who communicate from this kind of inner stability, because it makes them feel respected and safe. A steady mind also helps you notice things that others miss. You catch small emotional shifts. You hear the spaces between someone's words. You sense what is not being said, and because you are not mentally scattered, you have the capacity to respond to these signals naturally. This awareness gives you the ability to guide the conversation in a direction that feels meaningful and balanced. You're not just talking, you're leading the entire emotional tone. The truth is, the person with the calmest mind has the most influence in any room.
Not the loudest, not the fastest, not the most knowledgeable, the calmest. Because calmness creates clarity, and clarity creates leadership. When you speak from a centered mind, people feel like you are coming from truth, not from emotional turbulence. They feel like you are someone who thinks before speaking, who listens before reacting, who chooses communication over confrontation. And that naturally gives your presence weight. Another part of leading conversations with a centered mind is being intentional with your focus. Too many people lose credibility because their attention drifts, while others are speaking. Their eyes move around, their body shifts, their expression changes rapidly. These small behaviors reveal a mind that is jumping around. A centered mind stays with the moment. Your attention becomes a form of respect. When someone feels that you are truly with them, not half listening, not mentally rehearsing your answer, they trust you more, and trust gives you influence without you ever needing to ask for it. When your mind is centered, you also resist the pull of emotional hijacking. That means you stay steady, even when the conversation becomes tense. Instead of matching someone's frustration, you anchor the moment with calm. Instead of escalating, you de-escalate. Instead of interrupting, you pause and choose your words carefully. This ability to remain grounded makes you the emotional leader in the conversation. People naturally follow the person who can stay composed when things get heated. A focused mind also communicates through your body language. Even before you speak, people feel your presence. You hold yourself with steadiness, rather than fidgeting. Your breathing is controlled instead of shallow. Your facial expressions are neutral and thoughtful rather than rushed or reactive. These small signals tell others that you're not overwhelmed by the moment. You're fully here, fully aware and fully engaged. That alone guides the conversation more than most people realize. Leading with a centered mind also means being patient with the pace of the conversation. You don't push for quick resolutions, just to escape discomfort. You allow silence when silence is needed. You give others room to express themselves without jumping in too quickly. Silence becomes a tool rather than a threat. People respect the person who is not afraid of silence because it shows confidence and self-control. It shows that you're not rushing or panicking internally. You're simply present. Another important part of this skill is learning to speak only when you are clear. A scattered mind talks even when it doesn't know what it's trying to say. A centered mind waits, organizes its thoughts, and then expresses them with precision. This makes your words land with far more impact. You might say fewer words, but those words carry weight because they come from clarity, not confusion. The more you practice speaking from a centered state, the more natural it becomes. You begin to notice your mind settling faster, your reactions slowing down, your awareness expanding. You stop overthinking. You stop trying to sound impressive. You stop trying to rush. And without even trying, you begin leading conversations simply through the calm energy you bring into them. You also become someone others feel comfortable opening up to. A centered mind creates emotional safety. People trust that you will not explode, judge, or react unpredictably. They trust that you will stay consistent. They trust that their words won't be twisted. This creates deeper, more meaningful conversations. Conversations where people feel understood, not dismissed. Leading a conversation from a focused mind also requires authenticity. When your mind is scattered, you might default to giving artificial answers, pretending to agree, or saying things just to fill the void. But when you are centered, you speak with honesty, because you're not afraid of the truth. You're not afraid of disagreement. You're not afraid of being misunderstood, because your intention is clear. Authenticity makes your communication magnetic. People listen because they feel your sincerity. And perhaps the strongest benefit of all is that a centered mind helps you communicate without losing yourself. You don't twist your personality to fit in. You don't reduce your voice to please others. You don't inflate your energy to appear confident. You remain grounded in who you are. That stability makes your presence memorable and your communication powerful. A conversation led from a centered mind becomes an experience rather than an exchange. It becomes a moment where both sides feel seen, understood, and respected. You set the tone, you guide the energy, you hold the space, and you do it without force, only with presence, clarity, and inner steadiness. This is how you become someone others listen to naturally. This is how you become someone whose voice carries influence without raising its volume. This is how you become an person who leads conversations by simply being grounded, focused, and fully present in each moment.
Chapter 10. Inspire action by ending your words with clear direction. There is a moment at the end of every conversation where people silently ask themselves, "So what now?" They may not say it out loud, but the human mind naturally looks for a clear sense of direction. When you end your words without guiding the next step, the moment feels unfinished, and the energy you built slowly fades away. But when you end with clarity and purpose, you create momentum. You inspire movement. You turn your message into action. People don't just hear you, they follow you. Most individuals talk with emotion, with intention, with passion, but they stop too early. They share ideas, but not direction. They pour out their thoughts, but leave the listener unsure about what comes next. A powerful communicator understands that the final seconds of their message are often the most influential. Those last words shape what the other person remembers, what they feel compelled to do, and how they interpret the entire conversation. Ending with direction isn't about controlling someone. It's about giving them a clear path so your message doesn't dissolve into confusion or inaction. Human psychology responds strongly to clarity because it reduces cognitive load. When someone knows the next step, their mind relaxes. They don't need to guess, overthink, or interpret. They simply move toward the direction you've set. This is why leaders, coaches, mentors, and great speakers always close their words with a sense of what should happen next. The mind respects conviction. The mind trusts guidance that feels steady, realistic, and purposeful. Ending your words with clear direction also shows confidence. It signals that you're not just speaking to fill space, you're speaking to create change. People instinctively follow someone who sounds certain about the next step. Certainty is not loud, it is not aggressive, it shows up in the form of calm clarity. Ending with direction tells others that you're grounded in your message, that you believe in it enough to guide the path forward, and that you're willing to take responsibility for the movement you're trying to create. This skill becomes even more powerful when combined with emotional intelligence. Before you give direction, you observe the person's emotional state. You read their body language. You sense whether they feel overwhelmed, hesitant, motivated, or unsure. You then shape your closing words to match their emotional capacity in that moment. A direction that feels too heavy shuts someone down. A direction that feels too vague leaves them lost. But a direction that aligns with their current emotional bandwidth creates action effortlessly. Every person is looking for certainty hidden within communication. They want to know what matters. They want to know what to do first. They want clarity that helps them step out of hesitation. When you end with direction, you remove uncertainty and replace it with structure. You help someone feel capable rather than stuck. You show them that progress is possible, and more importantly, you show them how to begin. You also demonstrate leadership in subtle ways when you end with direction. Leadership isn't always about guiding a team or managing a group. It shows up in everyday conversations, when you help a friend make a decision, when you guide your family into a calmer situation, when you support someone who feels overwhelmed, or when you communicate with someone who needs perspective. Ending with direction is how you anchor the message so it doesn't float away. People often leave conversations feeling motivated but unsure. Motivation without direction fades quickly. You might inspire someone emotionally, but if you don't give them a tangible next step, their motivation disappears within minutes. The human mind needs a starting point. Something specific. Something simple. Something that doesn't require too much mental effort to begin. The clearer the direction, the stronger the action that follows. Ending your message with direction doesn't mean giving orders. It means offering pathways. It means providing clarity. It means giving guidance that empowers rather than pressure. When people feel that your direction comes from care rather than dominance, they open up. They trust you. They follow not because they must, but because your clarity resonates with their deeper need for structure. One of the most powerful ways to inspire action is to guide someone toward a small first step. People often fail to take action because they imagine the entire journey at once. The mind becomes overwhelmed and hesitation takes over. But when your final words redirect their attention to the very first step, something simple, approachable and immediate, you break the mental wall that keeps them stuck. You turn possibility into movement. Closing your words with direction also helps people feel emotionally supported. They feel like they're not navigating alone. They sense that someone is walking beside them, offering clarity when their thoughts feel chaotic. That emotional support transforms your message into something deeper than advice. It becomes a source of stability, a reminder that action is possible and that progress is within reach. Humans respond to conviction because conviction feels safe. When you close your words with direction, you speak with the kind of confidence that reduces doubt. Even if the person is unsure, your calm guidance gives them enough certainty to begin. They don't follow your words because you force them to. They follow because they feel anchored by your clarity. This skill becomes essential in difficult conversation. When emotions rise, people lose clarity. Their mind jumps between thoughts, fears, assumptions, and possibilities. When you end with a grounded direction, you help them settle. You help them breathe. You help them reconnect with logic instead of getting lost in emotion. Your closing words become a path out of the emotional spiral. A conversation holds little power if it doesn't create movement. You can speak beautifully, honestly, passionately, but without direction, the message loses momentum. Ending with direction ensures that people don't walk away thinking, "What was the point?" Instead, they leave with a sense of, "I know exactly what to do now." That single shift transforms communication from passive to active. Ending with direction also builds trust over time. When someone follows your guidance and sees positive results, their trust in your words strengthens. They begin to view you as someone who brings clarity instead of confusion, structure instead of chaos, solutions instead of noise. And the more they experience this, the more they rely on your presence, not just to talk, but to lead. This kind of communication influences relationships, workplaces, friendships, and even strangers. People always remember the ones who help them move forward. They remember the voice that gave them clarity during moments of uncertainty. They remember the person who didn't leave them hanging in confusion. Your ability to end with direction becomes a signature part of your presence, something that sets you apart from others. You also become someone who people listen to more attentively, because they know your words will lead somewhere meaningful. They pay attention because your communication has structure, purpose, and momentum. You don't just talk to express yourself, you talk to guide, to strengthen, to inspire. And people are drawn to that kind of presence because it feels like leadership wrapped in calm humanity. Ending your words with direction creates emotional closure as well. It stops the conversation from drifting into unfinished thoughts or unresolved feelings. It gives the moment a sense of completion. Humans crave that sense of completion because it signals the brain to move forward rather than stay stuck in loops of overthinking. Your clarity becomes a psychological anchor.
This practice also helps you stay true to your own message. When you know that you'll end with direction, you speak with more intention from the beginning. Your thoughts become more aligned. Your words become more intentional. You stop rambling. You stop wandering. You begin communicating with purpose because you're always building towards something meaningful. Clear direction doesn't always have to be complex. Sometimes the simplest guidance creates the strongest action. Even a single sentence can shift someone's entire mindset if it's delivered with clarity and sincerity. The mind doesn't need paragraphs of instruction. It needs precise, grounded, emotionally aligned direction. Over time, ending your words with purpose strengthens your identity as a communicator. You become someone who brings clarity into every environment you enter. You become someone who helps others see the next step when they are stuck. You become someone who creates movement simply by speaking with intention, and that ability is rare, not because it's difficult, but because most people never learned how powerful the final moments of their words can be. When people experience this side of you, they feel guided without being pushed. They feel supported without being controlled. They follow not because they are told to, but because your direction reduces confusion and brings emotional stability. This is how you inspire action, through communication, not with pressure, but with clarity. Every conversation is an opportunity to move someone's life forward in some small way, even if it's just helping them decide their next step, giving them perspective, or reminding them of their own strength. Your closing words become the bridge between understanding and action. When you end with direction, you take your message beyond the moment and turn it into something the other person can live out. And this is how you become someone who doesn't just speak. You activate change. You leave people better than you found them. You help them move forward with clarity instead of staying stuck in uncertainty. You inspire action not through force, but through a steady, grounded, human-centered sense of direction that lingers long after the conversation ends.